The Phillies are still in their turbulent time with the struggles continuing and the need for changes here. Well, some may be on the horizon as outfielder Ryan McKenna has been added to the organization. Me and Luke Arcaini are going to break down what this means for this Phillies team, the vibes that we're currently seeing within the organization, and how significant that need for change is. But we'll start off with this initial report here, originally from Matt Gelb of The Athletic, saying that the Phillies are signing outfield Ryan McKenna to a minor league contract. It does indicate that it does seem like that is the expectation, that he will start off in the minors. We will talk a little bit about what we see as a potential role. Could this be a guy that could make the major league debut when the rosters do expand? He does have significantly more pedigree than we tend to see for these types of situations. But Luke, to throw it to you right away, what are your initial impressions of this move?
Yeah, not any like crazy, groundbreaking, but just sort of depth.
Yep.
I think the Phillies don't have a ton of outfield depth, I would say, down in the minors. After you get to Weston Wilson, who's currently up on the team, you don't have a ton of like ready guys that can really play the outfield. Obviously, the I would say controversial going back between the organization right now is with Scott Kingery, but he's kind of been more converted to a strict infielder now. Hasn't really played much outfield this year, so he's kind of off the table as well. So I think this was just sort of one of those low risk, maybe high reward type of thing. Is he going to start games for the Phillies? No. Could he be a guy that maybe could potentially get added as the last bat for a playoff rotation come October? Maybe. I mean, career versus a right-handed starter. He's hitting 279 with a 763 OPS. So definitely has more success against right-handed pitching. And it's funny too because he's not necessarily great late in the game. Versus right-handed pitching in general, he's hitting just 225, but against specifically right-handed starters early on in the game when he's starting, he's hitting just about 280. So not some crazy big thing, but definitely just really adding depth in a position where I think they need it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, not a ton to go off from this season to dive into stats, what he's produced on the field. Just 2 home runs and 2 RBIs this season. Only had 14 at-bats at the major league level, but he is a guy that overall has a little more experience. And to dive into his backstory as a whole, did want to pull up this image here and this little breakdown that says McKenna, at 27 years old, made his MLB debut with the Orioles in 2021, 6 years after the team selected him in the 4th round of the 2015 draft. Across 284 games and appearances with Baltimore, McKenna slashed 221, 299, and 318 with 75 win record. While his bat was underwhelming, he stole 8 bases and a ton of kind of the backstory that he did play in here. Kind of losing it on my screen a little bit, but out of the options, pretty solid for what you can add at this point in the game. So I guess my takeaway with that is this is a little bit more of a proven piece than one of the young prospects that they could have gone in that direction here. And he is a guy that it does feel a bit of a reclamation project, that he's shown a little bit of promise. They're worth taking a chance on. And I still don't think they're super confident with that outfield and how it is. We talked a lot leading up to the trade deadline for kind of the speculation and concern with Johan Rojas. They obviously did not address that a ton. That yes, they added Austin Hayes, who's clearly locked in as that everyday left fielder, but we're still seeing a lot of Johan Rojas at the plate. Brandon Marsh still locking things down, and is it going to be interesting to see how that plays out? But I do think this is likely a guy that they have circled with the hopes that he can be a bat when rosters expand. Do you think that's how things play out, or do you think don't have a feel for if this guy is truly cut for it yet?
Yeah, I mean he's not going to take a spot over like anyone that's really starting games right now. If Weston Wilson, hits really bad over the next month, could they try it? Yeah. It's not really for me a major league move, but it's more just keeping that depth because if a guy like Brandon Marsh would go down, if a guy like Austin Hayes would get hurt, now that you don't have even a guy in Pache who really wasn't giving you much on the offensive side of the ball, even though you don't have him now, you're still down basically a whole outfielder. So is it a big time thing? No, but it's gearing up and sort of getting that depth for October and November. Could he be called up as the last guy? Like I said, yeah. Once you get to the playoffs, whoever's hot gets called up, right? It's it's really not about your name coming off the bench. Like if you're hot, you're going to get the opportunity. So if he goes down to AAA and he hits the ball really well, and they go into October, maybe they'll like him over Weston Wilson. I wouldn't say right now any chance at least right now, but I mean, maybe in a month and a half that could change.
Yeah, and Rafael Marchand, another guy who's built up quite a few fans as far as that I think will be in the mix for that same type of conversation. Also, we will note that kind of tied to this move is the Phillies did release minor league left-hander David Parkinson, so still some guys on the move, and I do like that there's still being pressure put on this team. We know how the vibes have been. That this team is struggling. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is the 7th consecutive series opener that they have now dropped after losing to the Dodgers 4-3 last night. We got this quote after the game from Rob Thomson saying, quote, "Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff happening that wasn't happening in the start of the year. We just got to fight through it." And I'm still of the mindset that pretty much everyone has to look in the mirror at this point. I don't think there's one singular weakness that is killing the team. The pitching has not been good enough. The bats have not been good enough. Rob Thomson has not been good enough. His management, and even little things like last night, letting Garrett Stubbs be your final out at the plate with 2 outs in a 1-run game is just inexcusable in my mind. So a lot that needs to be fixed. But I do think it is a promising sign that they're still going outside the organization to put pressure on these guys, look to improve. And you never know. You can catch lightning in a bottle, and maybe a guy that could be an impact player that could start things up for this team.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just one of those things where I've said it for weeks. You can never have enough pitching. You can never have enough bats as well. Load them up. It's no crazy salary, right? Just you can get him off of waivers, send him down to AAA, and if he gets hot, I mean, he gets hot. I mean, we've seen some. I mean, I'm not saying Ryan McKenna is going to win World Series MVP, but we've seen some crazy names over the past few years win World Series MVP.
Yeah.
So, hey, I mean, you never know. I'm not saying this guy's going to hit 6 home runs in the playoffs for us, but you never know. If you need a big hit and he gets it, if he gets one big hit in the playoffs, and the move was worth it. So that's really where I'm at right now with this.
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it there. That it is, if you get one impact play from him, this move does pay dividends there. Yep, that's all you're shooting for. So, once again, I guess a little bit of a hat tip to Dave Dombrowski. We'll see how things play out. But I do like that there is this constant movement within the organization, that they are adding players. And we will see what this guy brings when he actually steps foot on the field and how soon that will be at the Phillies level. So, before we wrap things up here, any change in kind of your panic meter, Luke, or still feeling the exact same about this team?
Nah, I'm okay. I know how good they play when they're at their best. It's just a rut. I mean, it's a long one. It's a really long one. But yeah, I mean, last night was a little frustrating.
Yep.
I thought Nola had one bad inning. I think he looked really good after that. Every other inning of the night, the first, second, and fourth, fifth, and sixth, I thought he looked really good. It was just that third inning. A ball to Teoscar that really Teoscar shouldn't have hit out of the park. Like he kind of hung it, but like it was a ball that he kind of went and got. And I can't be mad when Shohei Ohtani hits homer. I just can't be mad at the pitcher when Shohei Ohtani hits homers, because he's arguably the best hitter in baseball. Sometimes you just kind of have to accept it, right?
Yeah.
Even like Aaron Judge last week when he took Zack Wheeler 450. Sometimes you just got to accept it. So yeah, one bad inning. Obviously, that ninth inning was very frustrating. The whole Garrett Stubbs thing. Listen, I get it. Like if you want JT to have a day off, you want him to have a full day off.
He can take one at bat, though.
I mean, Garrett Stubbs can't make that last out there.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather JT go up and just completely strike out on 3 pitches.
Absolutely.
Than have to watch Stubbs hit there. On the flip side, JT has been a historically bad pinch hitter.
And is ice cold now.
It's definitely a better chance there. But I mean, really, for me, the most frustrating part of that ninth inning was just the quality of the at-bats after Nick Castellanos works an 8-pitch single. Nick Castellanos' approach right now is just night and day from what it used to be. He had a 15-pitch at-bat the other night, which is just, I don't think he's ever combined for seeing 15 pitches in one game since he came to the Phillies. Him going up there and working an 8-9 pitch single last night in the ninth inning, and then Austin Hayes, 1 pitch. Bryson Stott, 1 pitch. Garrett Stubbs, 1 pitch. Just bad baseball. I don't know. I think they have a good chance to win the night. I think they match up really well against Clayton Kershaw. I don't think Clayton Kershaw's good anymore. I never thought he was great in the first place. Regular season wise, maybe he's always never been a guy for me in the playoffs, which is when it really matters. So I like the matchup tonight. I think they should get back on the board tonight. At least I hope.
Yeah.
At this point.
They need to for sure. So we will be along every step of the way breaking things down. Stay tuned for the next video as we will be talking some Bryce Harper specifically, what's going on with Bryce, what he's saying, and some stuff I want to highlight from Bryce off the field as well. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Make sure you're smashing that subscribe button, dropping a like on this video, and any comments that you have below. And we'll talk with you next time right here on Phillies Digest. Peace.